Ready? So, good morning, everybody. Happy Friday. It's end of the week. Today is what, the 20th,
Mhm.
episode 25. Another week for the books. Just a quick disclaimer: this is just for fun, just for entertainment. So don't take everything that we say seriously. Yeah. Without further ado, let's get this money.
All right, let's get started with some of the topics that we're going to talk about. It's on
Mm-hmm.
the personal development. I have an interesting one, another spicy one. What does "she's not yours, it's just your turn" mean? On the fitness side, we have fasting and the different types. And with finance, we have how much money is enough money, plus news updates. Yeah.
Sweet.
All right, let's get started with the first one. Um,
So that's an
so when you
interesting
hear
topic.
when you hear that expression, what do you think?
Let me read it again.
Hmm.
So it says, "She's not yours. It's just your turn." So that just means that you're just dating. So that means that there's no future in there. Now that usually happens with a lot of girls that I date. It's like as soon as you meet them, you know that you guys have an expiration date. Now, so hold on. What does that mean? That means that you don't see a future with that person. That means that
Hmm.
you guys just fucking. It's just your turn to be with her at the moment. But there's no future. There's not kind of like wifey material type of thing. In as a man, you just know. As for example, me, once I go on a date, once I start seeing somebody, I just know. Like I'll be like, oh, we have an expiration date.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? Like you
Yeah.
don't see long term on that. It's kind of like an investment. Like you don't see a long term investment on that on her. But yeah, I think that's what it means. I mean, in my opinion, that's what comes to my head.
Right. Right. Right.
But what do you think?
Right. So with that expression, it's depends on the way you take it, right? Because like at face value,
Hmm.
what it sounds like is, don't get too attached to a woman because at some
Hmm.
point she's gonna leave or something's gonna
Correct.
happen. You guys are gonna have to end the relationship. And for the most part, you can say that that's true because most relationships end up, you know, finishing off. They never
Hmm.
really last for the long term. It's very rare that you see a relationship last any more than a couple months to a year at best nowadays. Um, like the only relationships that are long term are the ones that probably your parents or maybe your grandparents have, but you yourself don't really have anything like that. And there's just a lot of people. The way society pushes relationships, especially with our, how young we are. Um, is that you don't need to get married. You don't need to have long term
Hmm.
relationships in order to survive anymore. That was usually like the reason to be in a relationship. It's to have something and build something. But yeah, so at face
Yeah.
value,
Oh
yeah,
no, go ahead.
go
Go
ahead.
ahead.
Right. So at face value, that's what I think. But I believe there's a deeper meaning to that, which I'll get into. But go ahead.
Yeah, that's a good point that you bring about your parents in about our parents because like in my family, like my parents are still together and they always tell me like stories of how they met and all that, and it's interesting because like looking back um like like all generations they had the mentality like by 20 you were as a woman especially you were supposed to be married already or like and as a
With
man you were
kids.
supposed to yeah and it's crazy because I'm 22 and my dad and my parents they already had a 2 year old by the time by this time so it's interesting to see that in you know they had their up and downs but they're still together and it's really nice to see a relationship like theirs but at the same time, we are a new generation. Now, women are more, they have more freedom now, so they got more saying on like, what they do and how they choose to live. So, as a man, usually it's hard to find that connection nowadays. But there's girls out there that they seek that. Oh, they want that. But like for me, I don't see myself getting married until like my late 20s or like early 30s. So
Right, right.
there's no rush on that. So, but
For
yeah.
sure. So one of the other things about the the phrase there. I think a lot of it comes also down to the fact that sometimes, because of the freedoms and the luxuries, or just more freedoms that women have nowadays, men are more apt to kind of just, give them free attention, free validation, just give them stuff for the sake of hopefully they get something in return. That's how guys get in the friend zone, right? So like they act too friendly, hoping that if they give enough, they'll get something in return. But with that phrase, the whole point is, listen, don't get too attached. Don't overly invest into something where you're not getting anything in return. Because is she doing anything for you? Is she bringing anything to the table? Does she have genuine desire? If she doesn't, then there's no point in investing that much time and effort because she's gonna walk away.
I would say like keep a healthy relationship on. All right, you gotta see, like when you meet somebody, now you gotta think about the value that brings to your life. If it's a girl that you're interested as a woman, like as a woman that you wanna fuck with or you wanna just get to know, then if she's not giving you the same energy back, cut it off, like straight, cut it off. But if, like in my opinion, if that woman can bring some value to your life as maybe like a future business partner or maybe just like somebody who can help you in your career, then you shouldn't be an asshole and just cut it off. You should be polite, especially if you share similar interests. Because as a man, we kind of also it's good to have friendships with women because they give you like a different perspective. And nowadays also, I think a woman can bring the same value as another man does. Because like you have, acquaintances that are men because relationships, because the network that it builds. And it's always guys, your net worth is your network. So it's who you know, it's not what you know, but who you know. So definitely try to build this type of relationships for the future ahead because it's very important. So you don't discriminate just because she's a woman. Because nowadays women hold important positions in our society. So you never know how far she's gonna get. But if now, once again, if it's the type of girl that you're interested in as a woman, not as a like a future business partner, then yeah, you gotta be picky on that. Like if you're just like giving her free attention, you're just talking to her like all the time and just validating her like, oh, you're pretty, blah blah blah, then it's not worth it. Like if she's not giving you the same energy, out.
Yeah, like you don't even have to be an asshole about it. Just like if you're not getting the same if you're not getting the same return that you're putting in, then what are you doing? Because at the end of the day, all you're gonna do is just you're gonna keep adding more, and you're not gonna get anything in return. So that's what's called the sunk cost fallacy. Kind of investing more into something without getting any return from it. You're just wasting your time.
It's definitely like an investment, mindset that you gotta think about it. Like depending on how you see it, and also the asset, because like I mentioned, few points right there.
All right.
But go. You got anything else to add?
I think that about covers it. Just again, don't take. I wouldn't take that phrase and be like apply that to all women. You definitely can, and maybe to some degree, if you've always been the type of person that's been overly friendly with women for no reason, then maybe take that approach for a little while and kind of just like, listen, unless you bring that kind of value to the table, I'm not just gonna give you stuff. I'm not gonna give you my time, my attention, give you gifts, shower you with admiration when you don't deserve it. You haven't done anything.
Right. In other words, don't simp.
Don't be a simp.
Yeah, don't be a simp. But I mean, it depends on how you see the girl. It depends on how you see each other. Cause like, if you're trying to get with her, you literally what you're doing there is you're just chasing. And we always mention that you don't try not to chase unless you just like on game. You just want to fuck around, but chasing is never leads to anything. So it's always
shouldn't
gonna
be an active thing, right? It should just be
yeah.
like, you're just there in the situation, just like, and you're probably never going to see this person again. Like, okay, I'm going to go approach her and talk to her.
Right.
Whatever.
It should be like,
but it's not like, oh, I'm going to actively go out today in order to do this thing.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, so I think that comes to mind when I think she's not yours, is just your turn. Because like
Mhm.
girls are having fun nowadays, believe it or not. They have more fun than guys because they get it easier also. They can literally just pick anybody from their DMs.
Mhm.
Whereas guys, we gotta put the work on, but at the same time, um, ju- just don't get too
It's
attached.
fine.
Don't get attached.
You build up all
That's
the
all.
skills, build
Yeah,
up
you're
humor,
practicing.
you make the
Yeah,
money. You're good.
exactly. Yeah, I think the takeaway is that don't get attached easily, because I feel like that's one of the mistakes that a lot of guys make. I made the mistake before too, and is to get attached quickly. Like you start talking to a girl, maybe you're already fucking around, and you get attached, and you're already like, oh shit, like maybe I have a future with her. But girls, they don't get attached. They don't get attached that easy. They're more like they have their cards up
It takes
like
time.
more
Like,
quick.
it definitely takes
Takes
time.
time, yeah. And yeah, so you, if you get attached, you lose. You know the phrase. There's like a really good phrase in it, like in Spanish, like el que se enamora pierde.
Mm.
So it's
I
really
think
interesting. I always
there's
think,
no, I can't think of there's a similar phrase in English, but I can't think of it right now.
yeah, but it's a good quote to have. If you
Mm.
understand it, you understand. I'm not gonna translate it for you, but yeah, go for it. Next topic.
All right. So let's jump into fitness. So now we have fasting and the different types.
Hmm.
So this one shouldn't take too long here, but um, like you said earlier in the previous podcast, we've done fasting, right? So I can speak to all the different types that we've done or that I've done so far. So we start with the shortest one and then we build up to the longer one. So the shortest one is intermittent fasting. Intermittent. So intermittent intermittent fasting is such that you take a time frame and
Hmm.
that's the window that you're going to eat. So some of the more common ones are 16/8. So for 16 hours you're fasting, and 8 hours of the day you have a window to eat. The other one is 18/4. So 18 hours you're fasting, 4 hours you get to eat. Uh, no, sorry, 18/6.
18/6. Yeah.
18/6. 24 is the other one. So 20 hours you're fasting, 4 hours you're eating, and then you jump to 24. So
Only.
essentially like 24 hours you don't eat any food, and then on the 25th hour you can break the fast. And those are just like the more basic ones. Now if you want to get a little bit more extreme, then you have um, prolonged fasting. So that's usually anything over 24 hours. So that's like one, two, they can range from anywhere from 1 day all the way up to like
Hmm.
shit, a week, or not even a week, 30 days, 40 days. You can really scale this. So you got to be careful. You kind of got to start with the easy, well,
The easiest one.
you don't even have to do it, but if you would like to do it, then I would suggest start off with the easier ones first with the intermittent fasting, and then you can start maneuvering up. Um, so I'll let you go, and then once you're
Hmm.
done, I'm going to start talking a little bit about the benefits of fasting, and maybe you can
Oh
talk about it as well.
yeah, I was actually going to go to that, like, because I think
Go
that you
ahead.
covered all the types of fastings. Now, why would you do fasting? That's a major question. Like, why would you even try it? A lot of people do it to lose weight. Um, they want to be self-aware of what they're eating. So usually, when you have a scarce research of food, you tend to like go for healthier choices. So that's one. Another option is also to cleanse your body. Now, maybe you want to start a new diet. You want to start eating healthy. You want to cleanse your body. You want to make sure that you starting from ground zero. So usually that's another good reason why people do it. And another one, I think it might be for just like control of what you're eating, control of like your habits. Because eventually, like you want to go, like if you decide to go with intermittent fasting, especially like like maybe usually like the most common one, 16A, you wanna you're gonna be in control of what you're eating, gotta be control of, and it becomes a habit, right? And like any other habit, it translates into another aspect of your life. So if you're consistent about it, then you're gonna be consistent on other choices as well. And keep in mind that half, like on the 16A, 8 hours you're sleeping, and the 8 hours you is after you wake up, right? So it's not that bad. It's not that hard. I do that every day. Like I do that myself because my schedule, like right now, I don't go eating, just drinking water or tea until like 12. But you can explain a little bit more about, because the way that Randy does it is like he cannot drink coffee or tea during the time, right? I
No,
think it's
no, I
just
can
like
drink coffee
what.
too. I can't just
Oh,
so yeah. So the way I'd
yeah.
like to do it is I make sure that anything that I consume has no calories. So
Hmm.
and additionally, I like to supplement. So I take in electrolytes just to make sure that I'm keeping the body functioning properly. So but one of the big things with fasting is the fact that you start, you know,
Hmm.
your body doesn't get any external energy from food. So at some point, your body's going to start starving. But that's only temporary. So within that time period, what you want to do is be supplementing with some electrolytes. That way, your body has enough to function properly.
Hmm.
Because it's often heard of like you start feeling really lightheaded and dizzy simply because you're dehydrated. The only reason why you're dehydrated is because you don't have enough salt in your body, which is weird because you would think just drinking more water would get you hydrated. Not the case. So the more water that you drink, the more you flush out all the electrolytes in your system. So it just basically the more water you drink, the worse off you're going to feel. Right.
Well,
Uh,
another question for you: what triggers um, the metabolism to start working? Because the whole idea about fasting is for your metabolism not to release some of the acid that it does when when you intake some food. So what are some triggers? What things you should avoid? So I thought coffee and um, like coffee had, especially with sugar, usually triggers like
yeah,
more.
so that's why when it comes to coffee and tea, you gotta make sure that there's nothing, no additives in it. It's just
Mhm.
plain. And I only drink black coffee, and if I were to drink tea, it would just be tea with caffeine, and that's it. Um, Usually, the things that trigger your body to start processing food is anything that forces you to produce insulin. So
Mhm.
one of the other big things about fasting is that if you're somebody that's already pre-diabetic or somebody that is diabetic, fasting becomes a really good control mechanism for that. Simply
Mhm.
because if you expose yourself long enough to the fast, or just fasting over time, so let's say every other day you fast, or every week you fast once or twice a day, um, you become less and less insulin insensitive or insulin
Mhm.
sensitive. Whatever a diabetic is, whatever the issues, it kind of helps you manage the position a little bit better. Simply because the reason why insulin is triggered is because when you consume food, you're trying to get sugar from the food, like the glucose, into your bloodstream, or you're trying to get it out of your system, but you can't. The blood just, or the blood sugar kind of just stays there, and it coagulates or like kind of pulls together, and then that becomes a problem because very easily you can have some sort of heart attack or anything like that because there's
Mhm.
something blocking the veins and the arteries. So I really like fasting for those reasons. Going back to the coffee, right, and the tea, so you got to make sure that the only thing that you have in there is just the pure substance. Otherwise, if you add in sugar, if you add in milk, immediately your body's going to trigger insulin in order to help you digest that, and then that just defeats the whole purpose of the fast.
Right. Very good. Yeah, you had anything else to add?
Again, if you want to try it, start off with the lighter ones. I know there's definitely one thing I would recommend. So with the longer ones, at
Mhm.
some point you're going to start feeling a little weird, right?
Yeah,
So like you
I
feel
know
like you're
that.
gonna fart, and it's not a fart. So be very skeptical of your farts
Yeah,
when you're on a prolonged fast. Anything more than 24 hours. After that point, you don't know what you're gonna get.
yeah, especially if you also drinking a lot of electrolytes such as salt or like I think is what is it the other one? Magnesium
Potassium and
or
magnesium.
potassium. Yeah, there you go. So especially if you adding those to your water intake, because you need some minerals in your body, you are gonna shed yourself, like to put it in simple words. Because like you remember you're clean to your body. Now your body is still has the kind of like the process of metabolism because it remembers, right? Your body is smart, so it remembers the process that it has to do at about certain times. So it flush itself, and now what is going to come is not going to be poop because you don't have enough food. So it's going to be just like water, and that shit is going to be like
Just water, just liquid.
yeah.
I mean, sometimes it could be food that was just like stuck
Mhm.
in your gut, like just
Right.
stuck within the linings of your intestines and things like that. So
Hmm.
again, it's definitely a cleansing, but you want to, whenever you feel like you got to fart, just have a bathroom nearby and make sure that you fart in there, just to be sure.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, like the longest that I have done fasting is for a week, like a whole week, like 7 days, and I think it was helpful because right after, like I noticed, like like I used to deal with acne like really bad, and ever since, like I don't have that bad acne anymore. Like I get pimples, but not too bad. It definitely helps to cleanse your body in that way, and also change
Mhm.
my diet too. Like, so it's very
All
good.
right, that's something I forgot to mention. So you say you do intermittent fasting. I like
Mm-hmm.
to do one meal a day. So technically, that
Mm-hmm. It's
depending
different.
that's basically like a what 22 two. So for 22
Mm-hmm.
hours in the day, I'm fasting, and then for 2 hours I'm eating. So again, it really just depends what works well with your lifestyle. You don't
Mm-hmm.
have to be doing prolonged fast just
Yeah.
for the sake of doing it. If it works for you, you can do it. If you're more overweight, I would recommend it, just to help you
Mm-hmm.
get control of your food and start losing some more weight. But other than that, then whatever works.
Yeah, and also I would suggest if you want to do the like any intermittent fasting, I would recommend like doing it after you wake up, because like when you're sleeping, your body is on a process of recuperating itself, and that's when most of the cleansing and also like burning fat happens. Like literally, if you work out, you burn more calories and more fat while you're sleeping because your body is recuperating. So if you prolong that, like you're not sending any, you're not giving your body any food after you wake up, that process continues. The process it's not as fast as while you're sleeping, but continues.
Mhm.
Whereas if you eat and then let's say by like noon or 12 p.m. you don't eat any other food until like the next day, then it's not the same benefits, I would say. Uh, like you're not gonna get similar effects. But if you do like like this is my schedule how it goes. Like I usually on bed by 10 p.m. So by then I don't eat or drink anything. Usually if I'm in the mood for tea, I do that. But like I usually just drink water. Well, wake up usually by say 6 a.m. 6 a.m. usually water or tea, and then from here I wouldn't eat until like 1 p.m. usually. That's when I start making my breakfast, 1 p.m. And by 6 is my last meal that I eat. So usually that's the period that I get to eat. Like I do have two meals, my I wouldn't say breakfast, but like brunch, and then my
Even
dinner.
lunch, honestly.
Yeah, but yeah, so that's usually how I do it. And by
Mhm.
6 p.m., so by 6 p.m. is when I start my fasting. Like let's say 7. Like 7 is the latest I can eat, and then from there, like my period starts. Because you also want to keep some time, before you go to bed, um, for the food to digest.
Mhm. Yep.
All right, that's
All
usually
right.
how my day
That's
goes.
that. Do you have the topics in front of you? Because my computer died here. What's the last one there for the finance?
Sure, I got it. How much money is enough money?
Right.
All
Right.
right,
I remember it
so
was a simple one.
you gotta explain that to me. Like, what do you mean? Because you came up with the topic
Right.
with
So
that
this
topic.
one was just kind of just a random one that I thought of, but we keep talking about trading and investing and just
Hmm.
money basically. So
Do you
the thought came to mind, okay, with
do
all
you,
this in mind,
hmm
at what point should you feel satisfied with the trading and the investing? Do you think there's a point where you ever be satisfied? Because
Okay.
again, for us, right, like for me, trading isn't uh like about making money. I mean, it is. It's a good side, like a side effect of good trading. But
Hmm.
the reason why I trade is simply because I enjoy doing it.
the adrenaline.
In the same way that, you know, you would be on your phone playing a game. That's basically what I'm doing with trading the stock market. Now, you got to be careful because you can't actually take this as like just the game, because if you lose, you start losing money. And if you lose big, you're going to lose a lot of money. So you got to
It's
be
like any,
diligent. It's
it's
like
like any
playing a
game.
game of chess,
Yeah,
right? You
yeah,
have
you
to be
bet.
disciplined. You have to think about your strategies, and you have to execute in such a way where you always know what the next move is.
Mhm.
You don't know where the next 2 or 3 moves are, but at least the next move, you at least got to know that. So go ahead. What about you?
Right. Well, the way that I understood the question was a bit different. I didn't thought it was like, per trade, per like how much money you make per day or per trade. I thought it was like more like how much money is enough money, like in the long run. Like when
Either way,
when you
either way you want to take it.
yeah, that's the way that I thought about it. Like how much money do you want to make? Like a million, like a billion? Like what is your goal? Now, it's sometimes good to have a goal in mind, but in my opinion, like what I do for me, I don't chase money the same way that I don't chase anything. Um, for me, it's more like a lifestyle. Like the reason why I want to be financial independent is because of the lifestyle that it can bring me. I want to
Mhm.
travel. I want to go places. I want to be once I start forming a family. I want to be with my family. Like I don't want to have a 9 to 5 and just spend time with my family for a few hours. I want to be there like most of the time. Um, like it's still working, but it gives me more flexibility, and also because it's gonna be the capital that I want to use for my projects, like projects I have, and I'm starting building. So that's the main reason I see the importance of money. But at the end of the day, for me, it's more like a field. Like how in the car. Oh shit, I remember this from like a Instagram post, I think. So like when you building a company, money is the field, so that runs the car. So you pump gas into the car in order for it to like move, in order for it to go forward or backward, whatever. Like in
Mhm.
order for it to move. If you don't have fuel, the car is just gonna be there. It's just gonna be, it's gonna stop. So now the car or the company, it's to take you to point A to point B. So you should have a direction where you're going, like a mission, right? Like that's why it's very important for every company to have a mission. If your mission to making a company or building something is to make you money, then you already lost the game because you're pursuing gain rather than seeing you're pursuing money rather than seeing money as the field for the company in order for it to like move. That's why a lot of businesses, I guess, they don't make it. And
For sure.
yeah, pretty much
Money
that.
is a means to an end, right? It
Yeah,
shouldn't be
exactly.
the goal.
It shouldn't
Like
be
you
the
were
goal.
saying, right? Like the lifestyle. That's another thing.
Hmm.
I like the lifestyle of, the freedom that I would get if I'm a trader, because with
Hmm.
trading, my money comes from wherever I want to be. I don't have to be tied down to any one location.
Hmm.
And again, that gives me the flexibility to maneuver, be wherever I want, go wherever I want, travel however I want, and be able to still make enough income in order to sustain that kind of lifestyle. I'm not stuck to a 9 to 5 office job or some type of job where I have to be in a specific place. Now, maybe nowadays, we're more remote, so maybe you can say like, oh, I can work from home. Cool,
Hmm.
but at some point, life will get back to normal, and you're going to have to start going back into the office. So when that becomes the case, now you don't have that freedom anymore. But until then,
Right.
you can enjoy what you got. And yeah, it's a means to an end. Your money should just be there to help facilitate doing the kind of things that you want to do, building the projects that you want to build, building the companies that you
Hmm.
want to build, fulfilling whatever goal or whatever vision that you want to make for yourself, your legacy. Um, and that's it. It shouldn't be anything more than that. Money shouldn't be the goal. It's just the means to an end.
All right. Let me ask you this: how much money do you think is enough?
Now, you probably, depending on the person, I feel like you can
Hmm.
probably get away with 5 to 10 million in a lifetime. If you can make that amount of money, I feel like it'd be comfortable.
Hmm.
Now, for me, I was asking a friend, like, how much money should I make? and he told me 1 billion. I was like, you know what? I'll make that the goal. So now the goal is to get to 1 billion, just to say that I got to 1 billion.
Interesting. Like for me, is whatever it takes to accomplish, to have a like a happy lifestyle, as well as a be able to accomplish and what is it called, and able to fund my project, whatever it takes. It can be 1 million, it can be 10 million, it can be 1 billion. I would just that's my goal. I don't have a
Just play
number
it as
on
is.
it.
Just make all the money as
Exactly.
much as you need to. But whenever you
Exactly.
need the money, you'll make the money, and then that's it.
Okay. All right. News updates. What do you got for me on that aspect?
All right. So, yes. Well, within the last couple of days, the only things I've been trading is Tesla and Neo. So that's been
Mm-hmm.
doing pretty well for me. Again, with the addition or the news of Tesla going to the S&P 500, that's really
Right.
driving up the entire electric vehicle market, not just Tesla only.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Um, yeah, so that's definitely something good. Let's see. I'm not seeing so much movement anymore in terms of everything going up as high as it was, right?
Mm-hmm.
All the industry, all the what do you say, the hospitality industries, right, and the airlines and things like that. All that stuff
Mm-hmm.
is starting to stabilize a little bit more. It's not going up as much. So again, we're not really getting much more news. I mean, we got the vaccine stuff coming up, but that's
Mm-hmm.
only gonna be such a catalyst, right? Um, Again, we got the shutdowns coming in again here, so we got to be diligent. We talked about it yesterday, what you could be trading. So keep in mind those things. And yeah, that's all I got from my end.
Yeah.
What
On
about you?
my end, when it comes to day trading, I've been taking a look at gold. It's been like a fucking roller coaster with gold. So I'm just holding like some shares on that. Trying to maximize my capital. Like I haven't lost anything, but still holding it. I'm doing swing trade because I took the position yesterday. Um, I haven't been looking. I was trying to get into the markets like the S triple Q, but there's not much return right there, and it's a little bit pricey in my opinion, because right now the market, how it looks, is pretty much flat throughout the day. So there's not a good trade opportunity on that. When it comes to individual companies, I was looking at the one that you told me yesterday, the Lear. I think it was
Palantir?
LRX. Yeah. Oh yeah, P, that one. I was looking at that. I started doing my research on it. It has potential, but right now, in my opinion, it's a little bit overvalued, overhyped, I guess. But I'm just gonna wait for the dip. There's definitely gonna be an enormous, especially right now with the vaccine, because it's based on technology, and we're gonna see how that works out. News. Google is going full Venmo. What it means is that it's making its Google Pay kind of like a social platform. Now, Google with social has a bit of history. They're not good at it. We have seen Google Plus fail, and also Google. I think it was Travel. The travel booking. I used to use it, and they took it down because it didn't work out. Like it failed as well. So Google has some history with social aspect, with like social media, and it's not a good one. We'll see how far it gets with this one. So Google, maybe some of you are familiar with Venmo. Venmo is owned by PayPal. No, actually, Venmo is owned by eBay, and it's pretty much like like a social platform. Like you can send money and pay, and also like now they even have a debit card. But a lot of companies have been looking at, like, they're getting into the financial sector. We have Robinhood, we have even Apple. Now they have the Apple Card, and many industries getting into like into financial sector. Now, what this does is causing kind of like an overflow in the market, which are going to confuse the consumer, and you wouldn't know. Now it's good because that means it creates competition, so there's better options when it comes to credit cards for you, like better options, better deals to picking out like a new credit card if you want to do that, or maybe like the interest rate per per savings and stuff like that. But it can get a little bit confusing, and also it doesn't guarantee safety, because a lot of these new startups, they don't have the same backup that like an established bank has. Like, if you invest, like, let's say like $100,000, usually with after the crash, like the Great Depression in like 1920s, the banks, they have like a settled fund to give you back, to secure you back those savings. But new companies, and that's the backslash that Robinhood got when they first tried to open their debit card, because they didn't have that, that security. There was that skepticism with people. And right now they're, looking ways around it. And how they do it actually is very interesting. They actually have a major bank behind them, so they're just like the face. But you literally, you putting in the bank, might as well just go to like an established bank like Chase or Citibank and put your money there. That's my opinion. But rather than, dealing with a third, what is it called, with a middleman.
Yeah.
But yeah, other than that, other news. Hold on. Very good earnings reports this week. Market, it's on the green. It's going up, and like you mentioned, hospitality and airlines there are increasing a little, like, establishing.
Yeah, little by
When it
little they're
comes,
going up.
yeah. Other than that, I don't have any more. That should be it.
Yep. All right. That sounds good. All right, everybody. Thank you for listening. It's the end of the week. It's week number 4. So March a month. I think yesterday's episode was the first. It's the first month because we started October 20th. Yesterday was November 20th. So.
Oh yeah. All right. Yeah, you're right.
We're a month in. We're 4 weeks down, going into month number 2. Thank you for listening. If you have, again, we're just shooting the shit here. We're having fun. We'd have these conversations anyway, so might as well just bring you along. Yeah, enjoy the weekend.
Enjoy the weekend, guys. Peace.
See you next week.